Plaschke Pressure will get to Duke in NCAA tournament, allowing Gonzaga to take the title. You know exactly whose name you're punching into that final line. You know them because they're the most celebrated college team in years, featuring the most famous amateur basketball player since LeBron James was in high school. You are amazed by, and you're as wrong as Zion Williamson is big. The Duke Blue Devils are not going to win it. The pressure will be too much. Their versatility, don't make the same mistake as everyone else in your office. Don't judge Duke. The Blue Devils, the top seed in the tournament and the top-ranked team in the Associated Press poll, are essentially four freshmen battling history, and when that happens, history usually wins. In the 34 seasons since the tournament expanded in 1985, the number 1 ranked AP team has won it 4 times. That's right. The last team to enter the tournament as such an overwhelming favorite was the undefeated Kentucky team from 2015. The Kid Wildcat, the last team to command such attention was the Fab. On the back of the mighty Williamson, and with 2 other NBA first-round picks in RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish, Duke is like that unbeaten Kentucky team and the Fab Five all wrapped into one giant viral video. Except in an era of three-point shots, they can't shoot the three, with the worst percentage behind the arc of any team in the tournament, making just 30%. And in a tournament off, if Duke gets down and Williamson gets flustered and the game must be won with the long ball, the Blue Devils are in trouble. This will eventually, not that they won't breeze through the first rounds of the tournament, because they will. They'll win each of their, Duke won't lose early, but there are plenty of other upsets that can sweeten your bracket. In 24 of the last 34 years, at least one 13th seed has won its first round game. This time that team, in that same 34-year period, only 5 times has a 12th seed failed to win a game. This year it will another tournament trend is a victory by 11th seeds. It's happened in 8 of Belmont, Oregon, and New Mexico State are the 3 double-digit seeds that will advance to the Sweet 16 where, as usual, the Blue Bloods will take over. Yes, the Cinderella story is a myth. Did you know that the disparity between the top echelon and the rest of the mob seems particularly acute this year? When Duke falls and Kentucky is too disjointed. Louisiana State. This brings the bracket to the Final Four, which will feature North Carolina, Tennessee, Duke, and Gonzaga. The Tar Heels, with a veteran team surrounding entertaining freshman point guard Kobe White, will defeat an equally veteran Volunteers team to reach the final. The game will come. The other bracket is where Duke reaches the end of its dance. The Blue Devils will. Duke has lost to the Bulldogs before, back on November 21 in Maui, an 89-87 victory that proved Gonzaga has no fear. Just as Wisconsin once stunned Kentucky, Gonzaga will make history repeat itself. The Bulldogs are really, really good. They're the best team. The Tar Heels won that game, and also beat them by 13 earlier this year in Chapel Hill, but this Gonzaga team is deeper and more complete. This time, Duke will be among many stunned folks wondering what happened. Don't you be one of them. See 2019 The Los Angeles Times. Visit the Los Angeles Times at www.lateams.com. Distributed by Tribune Content Agency, LLC.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.